it's Western Groove. So this Keith Thurman versus Danny Garcia fight happened. Uh, I had planned on making like post fight reviews for the whole card. I didn't know going into it exactly how many fights would be on the card. All I knew about was Erickson Lubin, and then I also knew about what's the shit Fanfara and Chad Dawson, but I guess they didn't show that shit on TV. So it's whatever. So, watching the Erickson Lubin fight, I was gonna make a review. After the Garcia Thurman fight, I was gonna make a review, but I was just so excited for the fight that I didn't care about making a video for the fight. I think maybe I had dropped the video right after the fight or a day after the fight, but that's just it was on some other shit. I was just too excited. The fight was on Saturday. I had the butterflies on Friday all day. Then when I woke up Saturday, like I woke up Saturday at like I think I had woke up at 8 in the morning. And then I went back to sleep because I didn't feel like I could handle having to wait that many hours to see the fight. So I went back to sleep, ended up just waking up at like 11:30, and then just kind of dicked around until the fight came on. And leading up to this fight, this was a fight where like I was telling family and friends and shit, like, go watch this fight. This is the fight that you need to watch. Oh, you're just into basketball, you don't care about boxing? Watch this fight. This is the fight that will make you a fan of boxing. You will next time I tell you to tune into a really good fight, you're gonna want to tune in after you see this fight. So getting into the fight, I'm gonna speak specifically right now about the first half of the fight. Opening few rounds, I mean, I ended up watching the fight by myself, so I was jumping up and down, screaming. I had fucking drool sliding down the side of my fucking lip because I was fucking just going ham, bruh. I was going fucking skits. Yeah, Thurman, get that nigga, beat that nigga ass, knock this nigga the fuck out. You know how it be. And it's not that I don't like Danny Garcia, it's just that I was going for Thurman. So, it is what it is. It's just, to me, it really is just a sport. It's boxing. It's not anything personal. So, yeah, Thurman was lighting Garcia up. And I think, let me see, all right, let's say after the sixth round. So, going into the seventh, I think maybe I probably gave Garcia a round or two. We can say 2 rounds in the first 6 rounds. That's you know, I guess you can say that. And then going into, I mean, all right, before I go into the second half, the first half of this fight, it was beginning to, it felt like it going in, but the first half of this fight, it really actually felt like it was becoming a super fight. Like it was becoming a historic fight for, like, how I'm trying to say that, it was becoming a fight that would be legendary. Like the what's the one that they kept talking about on the fucking telecast? Uh the Leonard Hearns or whoever the fuck. I wasn't alive then and shit. I know some shit about back in the day because I know that you gotta like respect where it came from, whatever it is that you're into, but I don't be knowing that shit like that, how I know the current shit. But anyway, so it was living up to the hype, you know, just to put it plainly, the fight was living up to the hype. It was man, like it was just a great fight. It was just a great fight during the first half. Just speaking specifically about the first 6 rounds, it was just tremendous. Like really, that's how I felt. Was like it was tremendous. It was a tremendous fight. It was super exciting. Like my girl, right? She was texting me and shit. I had to tell her, don't text me right now. If you want to talk, call me because I cannot look down from the TV. I'm telling you right now, if you really want to talk to me, then just call me because you're not going to get me unless it's in between rounds, period. And then in between rounds, it's only like a minute or something, a minute or two. So shit, by the time I look down and start replying halfway through, nigga, the fight come back on. So now you gotta wait another 3 minutes for that round just so I can finish that last reply. But moving on to the second half of the fight, we started to see Thurman use. Look, this is the thing. Thurman was using movement in the whole fight, and then again, man, this is another fight in which we saw Danny Garcia struggle with movement. You know, he needs to do something about that. Danny Garcia really struggled with movement. So in the second half of the fight, Thurman started uh using his legs a lot more, you know, and some people are calling it unnecessary. I felt like at points it was unnecessarily, specifically the last 3 rounds of the fight, I want to say. Uh but when Thurman was using movement, and Thurman even used movement at times during the first half of the fight. It was movement followed by combinations. You know, like Thurman was winning rounds. He would, you know, he's an ambush fighter. So when he would move and then ambush Danny Garcia, he was winning those exchanges. And Danny Garcia wasn't through the whole fight pretty much he wasn't initiating the exchanges until the last few rounds of the fight. He started to initiate some of the exchanges and he was getting the better of them. That's where I feel like Danny Garcia picked up a lot of empty rounds that made the scorecards close was during the last 3 rounds. I ended up giving Thurman one of the last 3 rounds. I felt like even though Thurman was almost said trying to lose, not trying to lose, but trying to not win that round. I felt like he had picked up one of those rounds just because he was boxing really nice. Yeah, Garcia was pressuring him, but Garcia he didn't land anything, you know? So before I move on to the rest of this is just something that I want to bring up. Something that I'm asking maybe if somebody listens to this video with more boxing knowledge than me, you can educate me. But I don't get how, or it's not that I don't get, I'm not 100% sure on how boxing is supposed to be scored. And the reason I say that is not to sound like I'm just completely new to this and I don't know about a 10-9 round. What I'm saying is, do we score someone moving forward? When people say the rules, they say clean effective punches, effective aggressiveness. I see a lot of videos and comments and hear things about like, oh, this fighter won. Like some people are saying Danny Garcia won the fight because he was moving forward when Thurman was boxing, which is true of, you know, on a lot of occasions, you know, which is true. It was the same, and then some of those people are saying that, or some of those people are the same people who thought Porter beat Thurman because Porter was the one moving forward. He was the one, you know, in that fight Porter was also throwing more punches than Thurman. But my thing is effective aggression. So I always look at it as like it's not enough to just have somebody on the move. You know, like even if you can tell that they're flustered by the aggression, by the pressure. To me, it's not enough to have someone on the move or flustered. You have to back it up with something, and that thing that you use to back it up is the punches landed, the first uh the first ring in the boxing judging fucking rules or whatever, the clean effective punching. So when I see somebody pressuring another fighter, right, let's just say your typical boxer versus brawler. You see the brawler, he's pressuring the boxer. But in while he's pressuring him, the boxer's moving backwards and the brawler is throwing punches and the boxer is dodging and slipping and blocking all of those punches. And then when they get chest to chest and there's an exchange between the two, the brawler is throwing more punches. The brawler might throw 30 punches. He might only land fucking four of those fucking punches, and two of those punches he might barely fucking land. But then you have the boxer who does have his back against the ropes, who isn't in the position of superiority. But with all that being said, the boxer is still the one who is landing more of the clean, effective punches, you know? So when I see something like that, I score that for the boxer because I think like if I was in a street fight, if I was just walking to the store and some random dude just ran up on me and start firing on me, he has the upper hand. He has the advantage of the position. He's being the aggressor. But if as he's swinging on me, I'm blocking and making him miss and countering him with clean, effective punches, I want to be me in this scenario. He is going to now lose in real life or in a real fight. Most of the time it's the first person who takes the solid punch that loses the fight. So he's not punching me with solid, clear, effective punches, even though he's throwing 30 punches and he has the upper hand with the position and he's aggressive. Even if I throw one punch and it's clear and effective, that that counts more than all of the rest of the shit that he's done. I mean, that's how I've been looking at it. So maybe that's not the case. Maybe you can win boxing rounds just by running up on people and not throwing anything the whole round, not landing anything. Just as long as you're throwing punches and you're moving forward, you just give people rounds. Maybe. But anyways, I'm gonna move on. So I want to say that this fight was a disappointment. Now, the reason I say that this fight was a disappointment was because of the ending of the fight. The Keith Thurman was running. That's what he was doing. He was running. Keith Thurman, I really do like Keith Thurman. I feel I was going for Keith Thurman mostly in this fight because I feel like Keith Thurman winning will be better for boxing. Not because of personalities or Angel Garcia or no shit like that. I think that Keith Thurman will fight the tough competition before Garcia will. Because, I mean, I know we've all seen the interview. I think it was Garcia and his dad in the gym, and somebody was in there interviewing him talking about fights, and he was saying, shit, if we can get Rod Salka for 2 million, why the fuck will we fight, a Thurman for 2 million? What the fuck kind of shit? And that's why, because I just want to see the best fight the best. So if that's your mindset, then I don't want you to have control of the belts and control over the fights that get made. I'd rather you now have to be in a position where you're kind of at the will of somebody else. So you have to fight a big time opponent to get those big time paychecks, you know? Because I think Danny Garcia is very talented. To me, he didn't lose any stock in this fight. He's still in the position at welterweight that I had him in going into this fight as being like the fourth welterweight behind. I would say I would give it Brook, Thurman, Spence, and then Garcia. And Garcia losing to Thurman, I still feel like Garcia is the fourth best welterweight still, even after losing this fight. The only person below Garcia in the welterweight rankings that I feel could beat him, like who I would favor Garcia against everyone below him in the rankings. But the only person that I feel would just like really, really be like, yeah, Garcia could lose this for sure, would be Sean Porter. But I feel like that about Sean Porter against any welterweight, not just Garcia. I feel that against Sean Porter, against Spence, Brook, Thurman. If Sean Porter's in there, he's always live. Always. So shit. I mean, to keep it real, I think Sean Porter, just with his style, he can be live against a lot of people at even 154 just because of his style. I'm not so sure about his punching power and whatnot, but his style and his stamina, Sean Porter is live with anyone at welterweight. Anyone over until Sean Porter starts to really hit that decline, especially with his style. When he starts to hit that decline, it's gonna be very apparent because his style is very to just be all over you and punches, 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 you know. But anyways, I'm gonna move on from that shit. So yeah, the end of the fight was disappointing. The last few rounds, very disappointing, which ultimately made the fight disappointing. Like it was very anticlimactic. It started off so like I'm jumping up and down, like I said, drool, like I just yell and just spits flying and shit. I'm telling my girl I cannot look at the phone. By the end of the fight, I'm texting, scrolling through Instagram. I'm getting ready to go through YouTube and see if people already dropping some videos and shit. Like, I'm seeing videos about the Paulie fight, checking that shit out. It was on that kind of shit, by the end of the fight. So I was disappointed. But just to make something clear, I was disappointed in them both. I was disappointed in Danny Garcia and in Keith Thurman because I feel like Danny Garcia got caught with some big punches early, and I feel like he got scared of Keith Thurman. Danny Garcia was talking all that tough shit about, oh, I'm from Philly and shit, and Keith Thurman didn't grow up how I grew up. You know, look, boiling water, it softens a potato, it hardens an egg. It don't matter the circumstance, it matter what you made of. So just because you grew up in a different situation than Keith Thurman, he might just be a different person. He might have a different mindset. And those things that he did experience in his life, he might have took different uh he might have took different knowledge from those things than you did going through whatever you went through, you know? So Garcia looked scared. He looked intimidated and like he was shy. He didn't want to punch. He didn't want to get in there and mix it up. And then in the second half of the fight, Thurman didn't look scared, but he looked like he didn't want to get in there and mix it up. Garcia started catching him more. Garcia never really caught Thurman's timing. The only punch Garcia seemed to be able to time Thurman really well with was some hook to the body, maybe both, maybe on both hands. I was trying to think which hand, but maybe both hands, maybe just one. But he was catching him with hooks to the body quite a few times. He even hurt Thurman to the body, I would say once or twice in the fight. One time was very apparent, and the other time I'm kind of iffy on, But one time he hurt Thurman really badly to the body, but Thurman was better this time about not showing it in his face and his body language. It was very subtle. You know, you had to be paying attention. Like the only reason I even noticed that Thurman got hurt by that body shot is because I saw Danny Garcia land a huge body shot, and I guess kind of part of the boxing consensus that Thurman might be soft to the body, you know. So seeing him catch that shot, I was really like, oh, how is he gonna react? And I saw him hurt. I saw him hurt. I saw him take a step back, take a deep breath, like, you know, like he's just like, and just take it in. And then I saw him jump right back in and throw a combination on Danny Garcia, you know. So Keith Thurman, both of these fighters, but namely Keith Thurman, definitely does have legendary championship qualities. You know, even if it's not fully there, even if it's not the full package yet, he has some of those qualities. But yeah, I was disappointed in both. And this is the reason why I was disappointed in both fighters. When I watched the Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev fight, two fighters that I really, really like. I was going for Andre Ward, you know, American fighter. you know, that's how I am. I'm gonna go with my fucking countrymen no matter what. You know, even if that's not the person who I think is gonna win, that's the person who I'm gonna be going for and cheering for. And when they land a punch, I'm gonna start going ham and yelling at them from the TV to knock the other person the fuck out. When I watched the Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev fight, that was 12 rounds. I mean, literally from round one to the end of round 12. Both of those fighters gave 100%. Both of those fighters left nothing out there. Now, there's different things they could have done, different adjustments, you know, but that's game planning. You know, as far as their game plans and trying to win at all costs, both of these guys put it all out there. Like that fight had you on the edge for the whole fight. This fight had you on the edge. I would say maybe fourth or fifth round, and then it started to cool off, which was okay. Which was okay as a boxing fan. You understand, especially with Thurman and Garcia. Like when you know the styles and you know what Thurman is good at and what Garcia isn't good at, you understand it as this is game plan. You know, this is strategy. This is how you win. But then he started during like the last 3 or 4 rounds, Thurman just got ridiculous with it. And yeah, if let's say Thurman did hurt Garcia and make Garcia shy and Garcia wasn't giving his 100%, Thurman should have gave his 100%. He shouldn't have then lowered his output to match Danny Garcia's output because he could have made this a legendary fight. He could have made himself a legend. He could have broke the Spence spell. You know, if he would have knocked down Garcia viciously or knocked him out, he would have broke the Spence spell. Now, when people would have talked about Thurman Spence, it would have been, ooh, I don't know, man. I don't know if Spence can take that power, but because of the way Thurman chose to end the fight, and nothing changes. Everybody still thinks that, yeah, Thurman's good and all, but Spence is gonna knock him the fuck out. He didn't show us that he had that something else in him that I guess would make the boxing community think that he would beat Spence, you know? And it's I don't really know how I feel about that fight quite yet. I'll have to really look into it, but I'm just talking about like the boxing community consensus. You know, so that was my thing. That was just the thing that I really didn't like is they didn't give 100% from round 1 to round 12. And look, I can understand if you give 100% from round 1 to round 11 and you feel like, all right, I got this in a bag. This guy's desperate. The only way for him to win is to get a knockout. I'm going to run all night during this 12th round. All right, I'll give you that. But during the last 3 or 4 rounds. See, that's the thing. It wasn't like a 2 round thing either. It was at least 3 rounds. I could damn near say four, but it was at least 3 rounds that Thurman was just like, fuck it, fuck it. And then that's when Garcia closed the gap. Because look, if let's say I gave Garcia 2 rounds in the first half, and then during the second half he gets, let's just say on the judges scorecards, he gets all 3 of those fucking rounds that Thurman takes off. That's 5 rounds. That's five, that's 5 rounds. You almost lost the fight, Like, I mean, I guess it is kind of how Thurman said he would have just gave Garcia the draw. I don't know. I didn't calculate it and shit, but regardless, like it was just disappointing, anticlimactic. It ended like from the build up to the fight beginning, it was like the 6 months of waiting was worth it. Us boxing fans, we've been waiting for this fight for 6 months, for half a year. I'm on to doing a whole bunch of new, different shit than I was 6 months ago. My life, what I think is gonna become, and like just things going on in my life are completely different from 6 months ago. But through all that stuff, I chose to keep up with boxing, and not just boxing, this fight in particular, the Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia. And after waiting 6 months and finally getting the fight, you take off the last 3 or 4 rounds. You don't fight your heart out. Thurman talks all this shit about being great and all this other kind of shit, but he didn't show that greatness. He showed to be a really good fighter, really talented guy. He didn't show that greatness. He didn't show that we'll be talking about you 100 years from now, greatness. So that does leave me disappointed in Thurman. I'm more disappointed in Garcia's performance. You know, just like you got hit, you got fucked up, you got rocked in the beginning, and then you didn't really get your confidence back until the last 3 or 4 rounds when Thurman stopped fucking hitting you. That was the only time when you decided you're gonna take the lead and make some shit happen, was when Thurman finally decided he's gonna stop hitting you. So that's fucking whatever. Shout outs to PBC. The shit was free. It was on like nigga channel 5 or something. Free ass shit. Niggas talk shit. We know why they talk shit on the real. I ain't even gotta say it. You know, fucking welterweight, two undefeated, young in their prime champions unifying on channel 5, my nigga. Come on now. If you can say anything bad about that, you're not a boxing fan. We understand that you have another agenda with this sport, something other than wanting to see good fights. There's something with you other than that. Uh, so I'm gonna just end this talking about what I think their next fight should be. I think that next Thurman could fight someone like Lamont Peterson. I think I can. I mean, look, this the thing. I will not give Thurman a light touch. And the reason is you can say, oh, he fought Porter, then he fought Garcia. So yeah, Thurman deserves a light touch. But fuck that. Cause he fought Porter, then a year later he fought Garcia. So fuck all that light work shit. He needs to fight at least someone decent. That's why I say Lamont Peterson. That's at least someone decent. Like, if you are gonna wait hella long, then at least fight the fucking. I mean, I don't know who they're. I think this is an elimination. I don't know who they're gonna be the mandatory of, but at the Sean Porter Berto winner, which is gonna be fucking Porter rematch Porter, and I think Danny Garcia should fight Collazo. That's a fight I want to see. I want to see Danny Garcia and Collazo fight. I think Collazo deserves it, and I want to see that shit really bad. I think that would be a fun, exciting fight. Collazo will get paid. Uh, Danny Garcia can bounce back, but it'll be competitive. I really don't see Collazo winning that fight, but I think it'll be competitive up until Danny Garcia breaks Collazo down enough to get him out of there. If Danny, yeah, I mean, if really, I don't know if because other than Garcia's fucking no look hook, he doesn't really have or and his body punches. Other than his no look hook and his body punches, Garcia doesn't have anything really like that's just gonna get you out of there with one punch, you know, especially if you own your shit. But hey, it's Western Groove, and I'm out.